Thanks, Brent. Okay, thanks everyone for coming to the presentation today. As Brent mentioned, my name is Paddy Nicol, President and CEO of Evrim. Topic of the presentation today is projects and people. So for those that were here back in January, it's a bit of an update on some of the efforts that we've made specifically on our Cero Cascarone project, but also introduce one of our key people in the organization, and as Brent mentioned, Elaine Charest, who I'll be briefly mentioning. If you have any questions, please feel free to come by the booth after this presentation segment. So our forward-looking information. Okay, so quick background on the company. We are a prospect generator, and I think most of you know how that business model works, so I'm not going to go into detail on that. We got our start in Mexico back in 2011, focusing on the porphyry belts. We have a Kennecott database that we were generating a lot of targets from. But since then, we've expanded out into British Columbia as well. We've also switched into the gold space, so we've been picking up gold projects as of late too. So the recent acquisitions that we've made in the past year will be the projects that I'll be talking about today. Also have 2 active joint ventures with First Majestic Silver down in Sonora, and I'll cover those off as well. We have a cash position that takes us into Q1, Q2 of 2018, so we've got a good runway ahead of us with exploration. Partnerships. Since 2011, we've focused on a specific segment of the industry to conduct our joint ventures and alliances with, and the companies you see on your left there, those are the logos. They're all mid-tier senior producing companies. It's been a very good experience working with them. It's meant that all of our budgets have been met with respect to exploration, cash payments, and all of our option deals have been made. Taxes in the projects have been made as well. We also do a lot of work on behalf of our joint venture partners, so it's kept our crews very busy. The graphic on the right, that pie chart, gives you an idea of how much has been spent, and it's an impressive amount during the downturn. We've had $19 million spent in our projects over the past 5 years. Of that amount, Evrim's funded $3.4 million, whereas our partners have put $15.6 into the ground. And basically saying for every dollar that we put into exploration, our partners are funding about $4.50. So it gives you a good idea of the leverage you can have under the prospect generator model. People. So this is the one person that I'd like to showcase, Elaine Charest. He is a French-Canadian fella. He's been in Mexico 25, 30 years now. He's been associated with, associated with 2 major discoveries and also been a part of prospecting on 2 others. El Sazal and Marlin are 2 projects that he worked on in the early 1990s. He was directly involved in the discovery of those projects. El Sazal was a target that he was told about by the locals. He made the 12-hour trek into the Sierra Madres, and it became a 1.75 million ounce mine. He's exceptionally well connected to local communities, the geological community, prospectors, and also a lot of some mayors, ejidos, and that sort of thing. So a lot of the work that he does is based on local knowledge. El Sazal and Marlin were purchased by Glamis in the 90s for, I think, $390 million. He then worked with Grade on La India, which was taken out for over $200 million. He was associated with Metates, which is a Chesapeake deposit, 18.5 million ounces. So a lot of ounces attributed to Elaine's name. A lot of shareholder wealth has been created by him as well. And he joined us in 2015, and this is what he has found for us. This is Cero Cascarone. This is a high-grade, low-sulfidation epithermal gold target located in the Sierra Madres. If you look at that graphic on your right, that's the sort of the Sierra Madre belt where a lot of the multi-million ounce gold deposits are found in Mexico. You can see El Sazal is just to the north of Cero Cascarone. The analogs to Cero Cascarone would include Palmarejo, which is a Corp mine, Ocampo, which is owned by Frisco, and Mulatos, which is owned by Alamos. The land package itself is 69 square kilometers. We picked this up in late 2015, and we actually staked a core group of the claims, did some land deals with some locals in the area as well. And this is a historic mining district. And to give you an idea of how the history is on the project, there's a bunch of photos here of what sort of the project itself looks like. This is in the valley floor. This was initially mined in the 16 and 1700s in colonial times by the Spanish, was further mined by the British in the 1800s, and then artisanal mining took place up into the 1950s, and then exploration stopped entirely. And the neat part of this area is that there has been no modern day exploration, certainly no drilling. So from our perspective, it's a fresh new target, not only for us, but for prospective joint venture partners too. And you can see the amount of growth and the trees that have grown up around the infrastructure that's in the region there. So we're very excited. Early days, we just got started exploring this project back in January. So we've been working in sort of a 10 square kilometer area. Basically, it's a vein field that we're working in, 350 rock samples to date. Grades are up to 1,600 grams per ton gold, and that's, a very high grade example. I have that piece of that at the booth, so please come by and have a look. It's quite impressive. But there's 13 vein occurrences within this field. Strike length of individual veins are up to 800 meters, cumulative total over 3,000 meters. One of the impressive points of this, though, is that there's a big vertical span to these veins as well, up to 900 meters. And in the valley floor, you see base metals and silver grades, and up top in the mountains, you're seeing the high-grade bonanza-style veins, which is where that 1,600-gram sample came from. So what that tells you, you're in a very robust mineral system. And as I mentioned, we've only been working on this for a few months now. We continue to work on it to this day. We're trying to map the extent of the vein systems. It's still open in all directions, so very excited about it. Soil programs is planned as well. And the intent with this type of project is to get enough drill targets on it to entice a partner to come in and do the heavy lifting with additional regional work and also mapping. And the graphic you see there gives you a good idea of the extent of the mineralization throughout the project. That's another photo of the property. Sierra Madre, as you can see, there's not been a lot of activity. It's fairly rugged, but there are roads to the edge of the property, so it's certainly accessible. Ball Creek, shifting north now into British Columbia. This is a gold-rich porphyry target. This is located in northwest British Columbia, so this is the Golden Triangle. I'm sure most of you know of the area. KSM, Bruce Jack, Red Chris, which is just went into production about 1.5 years ago, and the previously mined SK Creek. This is a 500 square kilometer project. It had $6 million spent on it by previous operators. We picked it up from a distressed company back in 2015 for $150,000. So it's a great target. We've done our own regional work on it over last summer. We've come up with 8 new drill targets. This one is ready for option. So once the snow gets off the mountains, we're going to take some partners up, start on site visits, and hopefully get this one under option over the course of the year. Joint ventures. As I mentioned, we have a couple with First Majestic. These are down in Sonora. This is on our Ermitaño and Kumobabi projects. These are near-term production possibilities. This First Majestic's mine called Santa Elena is adjacent to these 2 projects. Currently, we receive $50,000 a year payments for each project, subject to royalties. So if there is a production scenario, there's payments coming into Evrim. And so there's 3,000 to 5,000 meters of drilling planned at Ermitaño this year, reconnaissance-style exploration planned at Kumobabi. So the final slide, total shares outstanding of 50 million. We completed a financing back in December of 2015, right at the bottom of the market. We raised 1.5 million, so to add to our treasury today, we're sitting on about 2.8 million. We don't have a stock option plan, so that's a little bit different with a junior exploration company. But happy to spend the time talking to you with the booth over what we do have in its place. 13.2 million warrants, and they're sort of right at the price where our market is today. Insiders, we collectively hold 25%, half of which is held by Altius Minerals. The other half is held by insiders. And as I mentioned, budgets projected to Q1, Q2 of 2018. That's my presentation.